begin by introducing you to a couple of my very good friends. It's a one-sided friendship though, right now. We don't know what the future holds. So everyone meet Donald Trump and Jacinda Ardern, global leaders, right now having to navigate unpredictability, uncertainty, which has been created due to the ongoing pandemic. Now, one of them is being heralded as a great example of leadership. In fact, their response is being termed as a masterclass in leadership. The other, not so much, mostly being criticized for their response. And therefore, it's really not surprised that one country, it saw 104 days of no new infections. And this Monday, they relaxed most of their lockdown restrictions, whereas the other recorded 200,000 deaths on Monday, which was the highest for a country. There's no prizes here for guessing who's who. I think we all follow politics enough to know the answer to this. So the thing is, this pandemic, if anything, it has again brought us back to the concept of leadership. What is the role of leadership when we are facing unpredictability, uncertainty, and crisis? How an organization will respond, how a country will respond, how it will recover from unpredictability, and how it's going to sort of, thrive in a new normal. Most of this is going to be driven by leadership. It could be at the individual level or at the level of the organization.
I am a big believer of storytelling, and I will tell a story. So I was talking about resilient leadership, and I was talking about resilient leadership is primarily about the extent to which the leaders connect with the importance of resilience. So once upon a time, there was this little boy, and at a very young age, his mother died, so he lost his mother, and he missed his mother terribly. Then he realized that he found solace in something, and that something was nature. The connection between him and nature was not only instant, but it was magical. He found the same comfort and love in nature that he found with his mother. And he also realized that he hated school. Well, one of the reasons why I loved him so much. And the traditional academic curriculum was not for him. So much so that he stopped going to school, and guess what happened? His family members became very worried. However, very early on, this little boy started expressing himself through art and poetry. Gradually, people realized that it was not only a mere inclination or a talent, it was rather a gift. Eventually, this gifted boy became a world-famous poet and a Nobel laureate in literature. So indeed, you all have guessed it. Again, there is no prize for that. I am talking about Rabindranath Tagore. So are we still wondering about his inspiration? Well, it was nature. He was not only a great writer or a poet or a novelist or a musician, he was also an exemplary leader and visionary. In 1921, he founded the world-renowned university, Vishwabharati University at Shantiniketan in West Bengal. It is an institution that not only nurtured world-famous personalities like Satyajit Ray or Indira Gandhi or Amartya Sen, but it also stands for its values and principles that are rooted in the acknowledgement and appreciation of nature. Rabindranath believed that no greatness can be accomplished by ignoring the importance of nature. And if we refer to the classic definitions of resilience, which Professor Kirti just shared, and the definitions of resilience that is followed nowadays, both in organizational, inside and outside organizational context, this is exactly what it is. So what I'm trying to say is that resilience and sustainability are not mutually exclusive concepts. Rather, they are very, very overlapping in nature.
The term resilience actually comes from the word resiliere, which means to spring back, right? The ability to bounce back. Therefore, it is not surprising that when we often think of resilience, we think that yes, it is the capacity to bounce back, to rebound, getting back to how things were, maybe returning to an equilibrium or a stable state. In fact, physics, physical scientists were one of the first group of people who started using the term, and they used to use resilience to talk about resistance of a material to external shocks. So just to give you a bit of an idea, it's a very crude example, but it works. I have a rubber band here. You stretch it and you leave it, you find that it comes back to its original shape. That's resilience in a nutshell. That's the understanding. It will always return to its original form. You can try it with a spring as well, right? It bounces back to its original form. So when understood or when applied to an organization or an individual or a system, it is the ability to maintain a stability. When you are facing uncertainty, when you're facing shocks, the core purpose, integrity has to be maintained. Getting back to how things were. In the business context, we hear this quite often, returning to business as usual. So resilience isn't just about returning back or to adapting. Because think about the rubber band, right? If I stretch it too much, it doesn't return to its original shape. In fact, if I keep stretching it too much, it might just snap and break. So what does that mean for an organization? That organizations eventually, when the external shock is too much, they will decline. I'm sure we don't want that for our organizations. We don't want that for us as individuals. So what we have to do is we have to understand that it's not just adaptability, but there is something else which is missing from this understanding of resilience. And this something missing, the missing piece here is the ability to transform. Yes, you adapt. Yes, you try and go to a stable position. But when that stable position is not sustainable, we have to transform. Reinvention is the key here, right? Because we have to be ready for the new normal. What does it mean for a business or an organization? It means changing your business model, changing the products and the services you are offering so that you are prepared for the new system, for the new environment.
The first thing that is required in the context of leadership, and now I am focusing primarily on leadership, is to understand yourself. So first we have to delve inside ourselves. So it starts with something that is called self-cognizance, or a better self-perception. So whereas this is primarily a very inherent micro internal kind of a skill, self-perception is key to the understanding of a resilient leadership from an organizational perspective. It's very simple. The better you understand yourself, the more efficient you are as a leader. This is because it is only through a holistic self-perception you can understand the importance of compassion, which is, again, as let me reiterate, one of the central principles of resilient leadership. Second, by reflecting on what you stand for. In a way, we are also talking about identity here. Again, it's very simple. If leaders aspire to be great managers, that greatness specifically is situated beyond their excellent salaries and promising promotional opportunities. It is about how connected they feel with their organizations. Unless and until this sense of belongingness is established, the aspiration will make hardly any difference. Third, leaders must love their organizations and people, or else they cannot think substantively about the well-being of the people and ultimately the benefits of the organizations, and obviously ultimately the well-being of themselves.
The adaptability comes from the idea that you are able to balance your head and heart. It is really important to make the tough decisions. And we are seeing that right now. Leaders are having to lay off their employees. They're having to, let go of their business plans in which they must have invested a lot of time and energy. Because the fact that, you have to accept the brutal facts which are out there. So the head has to be there, right? We have to think about the financial liquidity of our organization. But at the same time, resilient leaders are going to do this while being extremely empathetic. I think decision making is going to be extremely important when we are talking about dealing with unpredictability. We have to get, we have to again let go of this idea that we can get access to complete information which is out there. There is nothing like perfect information, and let me be very honest, we are never going to get all the information that's out there. Quick decision making over elegant decision making. Do not, resilient leaders are not going to look for the perfect solution. Good is okay, because we are continuously experimenting. Information is changing every single day, so you don't want to be left behind. It is very important that we understand that, make our peace with the idea that decision making will happen with imperfect information. Knowing that speed is what we need when we are dealing with unpredictability.